Are you still gonna have the church on your programs like that?
I don't know. I might just have like a little photo up at the reception or something.
Yeah.
Ugh, it's pissing me off. I can't get it.
I need to order one of those, and because I talked to Ashley about your keyboard, she goes, just order it, but wait till Friday because I don't want your car to get declined because we've got some big pending expenses that need to clear. She's like, I don't want you to just like send it.
Yeah.
Over.
And like I haven't had any issues with it since I restarted
I
everything.
think
So
we'll just buy it.
it's back up for when this inevitably just quits working. Yeah, but if you do, get the Logitech one.
Okay.
I like the one I have.
Why don't you just send me one?
Okay. I don't know what it, I just know that it's the brand Logitech.
Okay.
And I love the mouse and the keyboard.
Okay.
It's soft, I don't know. But, okay.
Talking about fruits.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, great.
But let me make sure my necklace is, the thing's not out.
I like how you were all over me this morning.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
Alright, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back to Amplify Your Garden. So today on this podcast episode, we're gonna switch gears a little bit. So traditionally we've been talking a lot about vegetables, and even we had an herb video too. Mm-hmm. And those are all, for the most part, pretty annual plants. And we're gonna dive into fruit gardening, mm-hmm. which a lot of fruits are more perennials.
They come back.
Yeah. So, right. I'm glad you said that. So perennials, they come back year after year, and maybe you just have to trim them down in the fall.
Yeah.
So their fruits are, I guess in my experience, somewhat easy, and it just depends on where you are. Right. So I'm going to throw rhubarb in with fruits because it just pairs nicely. Right. So at home, what I grow is raspberries, red raspberries, and rhubarb. And what I love is, one, they come back every year, and two, my raspberries, I planted 4 plants initially, mm-hmm. and then after a couple of years, they put up little babies, and I transplant the babies, and I pull them further down my, in my garden bed there, and now I have 8. So nice. I started with 4, and now I have 8, and strawberries do the same thing. Yeah. They spread. So do you grow strawberries?
I had a strawberry plant last year and it did not come back. So I don't know what I did wrong, but it was like the first year. I probably didn't water it enough and it just died off. But it when I put it in the ground, it had some fruits, but I've heard like you're not supposed to pick it the first year.
Yeah.
So I didn't pick it. I just let it go. But I do have, and then last year I also had gotten a blackberry and a blueberry bush, and I put those in like pots that you can mm-hmm. sit on your porch or something, and the blackberry one is most definitely dead. It did not come back this year. And the blueberry one, I don't think it's dead because it has little like buds off of the
off the branches?
Yeah, off the branches, but it didn't bloom. It almost like looks dormant, and I think it just needs to be put in the ground.
Yeah.
So
it could very well be.
I think I'm just gonna put that in the ground. And I think mine's a late bloomer. Like I think it blooms in like the late or like fall time. I don't know. I could be completely wrong on that, but this time last year it had leaves on it, and it does not have any leaves on it right now. So I don't know. It could also be dead, but
that's part of it though. It's
right.
the learning experience, because I tried. So I said that fruits are somewhat easy to grow, and maybe that, I guess,
well, I think when they're established, because
right.
we have a rhubarb plant in the back of our house that was there when we moved in, and we've never had to do anything with it. Right. It just grows. We never have to water it. We never have to do anything with it.
Yep.
And we just pluck it or take the stems off when they are ready. So I think once the fruit plants are established, and I think my big mistake was, I don't know, I guess my and I have a lilac bush, and I thought the same thing. I wasn't thinking that it was a young plant. I was just thinking it's in the ground, and people have lilac bushes all the time, and they don't water them. Right. So I wasn't watering it. And same with the
blueberry.
What was I gonna say? I don't know. What did I just say? I wasn't watering the lilac bush.
Yeah. Same with
the strawberry. Same with the strawberry plant that we had. I probably wasn't watering it enough because it was right next to the lilac bush. But I don't know, maybe this summer I'll try and plant the blueberry one and see if it comes back. But I did buy a golden raspberry bush.
Oh, nice.
This year, and I planted that. Learning my lesson, I planted it right away instead of putting it in a pot. So it looks pretty good. So
good.
I'm hoping we get some raspberries off that. So.
Yeah, and I guess to piggyback, I tried strawberries probably two years ago. Mm-hmm. And I too did not water them enough. So I planted strawberries right next to our raspberry bushes, and the next day our daughter was born, and they just got neglected. And then the rabbits came and chewed them off. Mm-hmm. And they were starting to come up again this year, just one of probably the dozen that I planted. They were starting to come back. But my raspberries had a lot of little babies, and I decided to pull the rest of the strawberries out and just transplant more raspberries in that spot. Just because we can't get enough raspberries. I never have enough to bring inside. We just eat them off the canes. But with strawberries, what I have seen and what I think is a genius idea is putting strawberries in a raised bed.
Really? I've seen hanging baskets too. Yeah, and I think for a couple of reasons. So for one, strawberries spread. So if they're in a raised bed, they have a finite area. You're not going to overtake something you don't want it to. Right. Yeah. And then too, when they're in a raised bed, you are kind of getting away, like for me, that rabbit pressure. Yeah. And maybe not a raised bed that's 8 inches off the ground, but if you have a raised bed that's like as tall as this table. Like a table raised bed. Yeah. Yeah. That would be super awesome, I think, if you have the space for it to do that. Right. Yeah, we had ours when I planted ours last year. It was in the ground, but we have a fenced-in backyard. Mm-hmm. And not that we never have bunnies back there, rabbits back there, but very rarely, like within the yard. But no, I have to take all the blame for the plant dying, not bunnies. But that is a good idea though. Yeah, doing it in a raised bed. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really all I've tried to plant so far: blueberries, blackberries, and last year I did get blueberries off of the plant in the pot. Mm-hmm. I just think they retain too much water. Yeah. And I think, cause like after a rainstorm would come through, they would the water would be logged into there. Like it would be it can't get 3 inches of water on top of the soil. Yeah, it can't get out. Right. Yeah. And so I think that was the issue, and I think they just held too much water. Mm-hmm. And then what else? The raspberry, I don't know, it looks pretty good, but it looked good when I bought it. Yeah. So I don't know, we'll have to see if I keep that alive yet or not, but yeah. And that's, I guess you mentioned water, and that's something else that I want to talk about in regards to fruits especially. While you don't want them to be waterlogged in a pot like that, right? They do like a significant amount of water. Mm-hmm. So where my raspberries are, they're on the south side of my garage. So they get a lot of heat being on the south side, they get a lot of sun being on the south side, but also that side of the garage, and I don't know if this is a good thing or not, but the spouting fell off of the garage right there. Mm-hmm. And I asked my husband just not to replace it because I wanted all that water to run down. Now they're in the ground, so I'm not too concerned with it getting too much water, and it drains fairly well. Another thing with a lot of berries, and blueberries especially, is they like acidic soil. So like blueberries like, a 5 or 6 pH, and that's something else to keep in mind. And that's honestly, I planted blueberries and they failed because not really thinking about it, I popped them in the ground, and the pH in that area is like an 8.5. So that's something else. There's different crops, like different soil pHs a lot of times for gardens like vegetables, really around that 6.5, 7 pH. But whenever you start to navigate into fruits, a lot of them do like a slightly acidic soil, maybe not as acidic as a blueberry. But that's probably why my blueberries died, is because the pH was 3 whole points higher than what it needed. And I'm sure that might have been my issue too then, because I was just using potting soil from the store. Yeah. But and I think another way to grow fruits, I don't know, watermelon, cantaloupe. Oh yeah. Those are more vegetable type grown fruits, but I mean they're fruits nonetheless. Yeah. And I feel like those, at least cantaloupes, they grow kind of similar to like zucchini and squash, don't they?
Yeah. So or like pumpkins where they
like
vine out.
pumpkins,
So when they're in the same family, they're in that cucurbit family, so that those plants grow very similarly. So you just need a lot of space.
Right.
For that.
Yeah, but those don't come back.
Correct.
That you have to plant those every year. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's good. I'm glad you brought. I would have totally glossed over that because I mean,
I was just thinking about that. I was like, what other fruits are there that you can grow in your backyard? And I planted cantaloupe this year, and I know a lot of people plant watermelons.
And I've seen people. So they vine. I've seen people put them up on like almost a fence where the plant vines up the fence and then the fruit can hang.
I've seen those. Yeah.
And that always interests me, but I guess I never make the effort to put that in.
Those really pretty planned out gardens.
Yeah. In our garden here, in my garden at home, and yours to some extent, it's more for the functionality. So making your garden work for you. I am not an aesthetic person. My garden is what it is, and but the gardens with the raised beds and the walking paths, oh my gosh, they're beautiful.
Right. It's a goal of mine, but we'll see.
They're beautiful.
Right now, I just want to grow some successful plants.
That's a down the road. And they have like a nice little swing.
Right, yeah. With like what do you call that? Like
the trellis thing.
Trellises and cucumbers growing through them.
Yeah, it's like a sanctuary.
Yeah.
They look wonderful, and I'd love to spend some time in those. But I guess I'm not really willing to make the time to put that in.
Yeah. We could also talk about trees.
Oh yeah,
fruit trees. I don't know. I don't have any here. I've never.
Yeah, I don't have much experience. We can talk about them.
Yeah.
So another, I guess, perennial, maybe a more committed perennial, is fruit trees. So apples, peach trees, pear trees, or even like a mulberry trees, oranges, and all those things are dependent on where you live a little bit. So here in Ohio, we can grow peaches and pears and apples, oranges, not so much.
And I'm assuming that goes with lemons as well.
Yeah, citrus. They like a warmer climate, but that's something. If you have the space for it, and they're an excellent addition to really any garden if you have the space to put those.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't have much experience with fruit trees.
Neither do I.
We don't have the space for it.
Love to someday.
Yeah, I love to add that to the goals, right? Yeah. So I think as far as fruits goes, there is some nuances to that, and I think the biggest thing is making sure they're getting enough water, but they're not just marinating in it.
Right. I just feel like one of the things that like in comparison from the strawberry that I planted last year, the rhubarb that's very old that's at our house. The rhubarb I've never had to touch. I've never really had to take care of it per se, but the strawberry one I did. So I think it's all about how old the plant is. Yes, the establishment of the plant too.
For sure.
So like if you are taking the time to plant a tree or a bush or some type of fruit plant, I think just keep an eye on it, keep caution to it.
And that's like I think with perennials too, you can't just
that's
because similar to you, once I have a perennial and it's established, I really don't think about it at all.
Because it'll come back next year, if it's well taken care of.
But you just have to get it to that point.
Yes.
So my rhubarb too came with the house we bought. So I mean my rhubarb's probably at least 10 years old.
Right.
And I really don't do anything with it besides pull the stalks off. My original 4 raspberry bushes, I really don't do anything with those besides prune them back in the fall. Otherwise, I don't think about it. Now the new ones that I just planted, that I transplanted, granted I didn't put them they weren't coming from a pot to my garden, but I was pulling them out of one spot of the garden and putting them in another.
Yeah.
So I do maybe those 4 a little bit more than the mature ones.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought that up. Is keeping in mind that you need to keep on them,
right?
Just like you would with your vegetables. So really, I guess a good way to think of it, the first year that you plant really any perennial, treat it as an annual that needs that consistent water, and maybe even the second year if it's looking weak. But then the 3rd, 4th, 5th year, they're well established. Their root systems are deep enough.
And I recently was like looking into asparagus, and is it similar, like fruits across the board? Is there any similarity with asparagus that you're not supposed to pluck it for 3 years?
Yeah.
And then the plant really only has like a 20-year lifespan after that. Is that how like fruit bushes and stuff go as well, or?
So I'm trying to think back. When I planted my raspberry bushes, that first year I didn't get any fruit at all. They were small. I didn't get any fruit. That second year I got some, and I did pick it. I did pick the some. And I guess last year would have been the third year, and we got some again, and we got more this year. So this will be the fourth year, their fourth season. Those established bushes, they're loaded with raspberries. So I do think there is a little bit of a waiting period.
Probably goes from plant to plant though.
Right.
Strawberries.
Right. That first year especially, I think letting that plant get established, because when you pick those berries, there's going to be some amount of stress that happens to the plant, because the plant's trying to produce a seed.
Yeah.
And you're pulling that seed off, so there might be some stress on that plant. So if you wait the first year, then you're reducing the amount of stress, because that plant already has the stress of being little, being transplanted.
Right.
You know, if you're like us, you forget to water it, so it's got water stress.
Right.
And then really just letting those berries go, and then the next year pulling off of them.
That makes sense. Yeah.
That's what I like to do. I think that helps keep the stress level as low as low as possible.
Yeah. What else was there to talk about? No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
So that's what we have for this week on Amplify Your Garden as a podcast. So Hannah, I really enjoyed talking about our fruit gardens together. I love mine, and I get real excited when I start to see those blooms come on my raspberry bushes. So if this resonated with you, please like and subscribe, share it with a friend, and then leave in the comments what kind of fruits are you growing, and what are any kind of tips and tricks for fruit growing, because we are still
learning,
very much green in that regard. So we'll see you next time, and thanks for tuning in.